Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. If you'd like to get some weeknight meal ideas for your family, then just keep watching. This day was Easter, and so for dinner this night, we just had leftovers from our Easter lunch. Here's what we had. First, I made a ham. I just placed the ham in a crock pot. I mixed up brown sugar and a little Dijon mustard, poured that over top, and cooked it on low for 4 hours. Then I made some potato salad. I have a separate recipe video for this, which I'll include in the description box below. We have some rolls. These are just the Aldi version of Sister Schubert rolls that I cooked in the oven. And then to go along with that, look at this cute little Easter bunny. I found this at Target. It's just butter, so I set that out to go with the rolls. Next, I made some deviled eggs. Again, I have a separate recipe video for this. I'll include it in the description box below. Then I had some broccoli salad that was left over from dinner a couple nights ago, so I just went ahead and set that out. I have some baked beans. This is just a can of Bush's baked beans that I added some brown sugar, barbecue sauce, and a little liquid smoke and baked it for about an hour. I have some macaroni and cheese. This is just the Great Value thick and creamy. I made Mandy in the Makings green beans. And then I made my Hashbrown Casserole, which I'll include the recipe in the description box below. And to go along with that, my mom and dad brought a carrot cake. And then I had made some funfetti cupcakes. And then we just had some leftover glazed donuts. And that was our Easter meal. It was so delicious. For dinner this next night, I really did not feel like cooking after cooking everything for Easter, so I just wanted something easy, and we had some avocados that were ripe, and if you eat avocados, you know they're only ripe for like 2 seconds, so when they were perfectly ripe, I wanted to make sure to use them, so here's what I ended up doing. I made some avocado toast. This is so delicious. This is one of my favorite breakfast and lunch. It's really good, and it's really simple. I just took some bread, I toasted it, then I took my ripe avocados, I mashed them up with a little bit of lime juice and some salt. I spread that on my toast. I added some sliced tomatoes and then some bacon that was left over from breakfast. Then I fried up a couple eggs and I left the yolks nice and runny, and that was our dinner this night, and I served it with some cara cara oranges. For dinner this night, I tried a new recipe for a chicken and dumpling casserole. My mom saw this on Facebook and tagged me in it, and I wanted to give it a try. So to get started, I have the oven preheated to, I believe, 350 degrees. I'll include the recipe in the description box below. I'm going to spray my casserole dish with some cooking spray. Then I'm going to add in my chicken. This is just some pre-cooked chicken that I had in my freezer that I thawed. You could use leftover rotisserie chicken. That would be good as well. Next, I'm going to add a stick of butter that has been melted, and I'm just going to drizzle that over the chicken. And then I'm going to season that with some salt and pepper. I'm going to push this to the side for a moment, and then I'm going to take a bowl, and in this bowl I'm going to add in my flour and the milk and whisk that together really well, and then pour that over the chicken. And the recipe is really clear that whatever you're putting into the casserole dish itself, you do not stir it up. It says that that's how the dumplings form. So I'm going to stir that flour and milk together really well, and then I'm going to pour that over the chicken and not stir the chicken and the flour mixture. I'm going to move this to the side again for just a second, and in this same bowl, you don't have to wash it. I'm going to add in my broth. This is just some water and bouillon. Next, I'm going to add in the can of cream of chicken soup and stir that together, and then I will pour that over the mixture in the casserole dish. And again, I am not going to stir this. I'm just going to pour it over and then place this into the oven and bake this for 45 minutes. And I thought this recipe was good, but I did goof it up a little bit. So after 45 minutes, I checked it, and honestly, it kind of looked like a hot mess in the oven. It looked kind of separated. The butter was on top, and I thought that's not baked all the way. So I cooked it for another probably 12 minutes, and I way overcooked it. The dumplings were really tough. So if you open it at 45 minutes and it looks like it did for me and kind of a hot mess, just go with it. Go ahead and pull it out, and then you'll want to let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes after you pull it out of the oven before you serve it. And to go along with this, I pulled some leftover green beans out of the refrigerator and just warmed them up on the stove. Here are the finished plates. So we have the green beans and the casserole. We really liked the casserole. Like I said, I love the flavor of this. My husband was like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is really good. And it was. But like I said, the dumplings were just really tough to me. But that's because I overcooked it. So I will make this again and not overcook it next time. Tonight for dinner, I made some quick burrito bowls. So first I started with the rice. I took some of this 90-second microwavable rice and I just cooked it according to the package instructions. I'm going to lay some of the rice in the bowl, and you can use whatever you'd like here. You can leave out the rice altogether. You could use brown rice, cilantro lime rice. You can use, regular white rice or instant, whatever you have. Next, I'm going to add some leftover sweet pork that I have. This was in my freezer. I just thawed it out. And again, use whatever you have and whatever you like. You could use chicken, steak, or you could just do all veggies. I'm then going to add some black beans that I have drained and rinsed. I've added some shredded cheddar cheese. Next, I'm going to add some lettuce. And I said this a couple times, but just use whatever you like with these burrito bowls. If you don't like something, leave it out. If you do like other things, just totally add them. These are completely customizable. I'm next going to add in some guacamole, some pico de gallo, and with the guac and the pico, you can obviously make this homemade, but I just wanted a really easy dinner this night, so I just got some from the store. I like to top some off with tortilla strips if I have them, so I'm going to sprinkle those on top. And then I got this avocado cilantro Bolthouse ranch dressing. We hadn't tried this before. I wasn't a huge fan of this just by itself. I felt like it was little cilantro heavy, but on the burrito bowl, it was actually really good, and we really love the original Bolthouse ranch dressing. And here's the finished burrito bowl. This is a really quick and easy dinner, and it was super delicious. For dinner this night, I'm making creamy spring tortellini. Now, this is good any time of the year, but I especially like making this during the springtime because asparagus is in season, and so it's usually always a really good price and not really expensive. So first, to get started, I'm going to make some frozen cheese tortellini that I am just going to cook according to the package instructions, drain that, and set that aside. Then I'm going to take a skillet, and I've got this over about medium heat. I'm going to add in my chopped bacon and cook that until it's nice and crispy. Once the bacon is cooked, I'm going to remove it with a slotted spoon to a paper towel lined plate to drain, and I'm going to leave in the little bit of bacon fat that's in here. I use center cut bacon, so there wasn't a lot. If you need to take some of the bacon fat out, though, you can do that. I'm going to add in my chopped up onions and cook those until they're translucent. Then I'm going to add in my chopped up asparagus and stir that around and cook that for just a few moments until it starts to soften. Next, I'm going to add in my minced garlic, and this garlic clove, I don't know what it was, but it just did not want to go through the press, so you'll see a change of hands here in just a second. I asked my husband to come over and squeeze it for me because I just could not do it, and even he said it was kind of hard. So I minced up the garlic and then stirred that together and cooked that for just about 30 seconds. Now I'm going to add in the heavy whipping cream and stir that around and cook that for just a couple moments until it starts to thicken a little bit. Next, I'm going to add in my Parmesan cheese. Today I'm using shredded, but I've also made this in the past where I've used grated Parmesan cheese, and that turned out just fine as well. I'm going to stir that in, and this is over about medium-low heat. I'm just going to cook this until it gets nice and thick, and you will want to taste this and season this with salt and pepper according to your taste. Next, I'm going to add in my drained and cooked pasta, as well as the frozen peas, and then the crispy bacon, and stir that together. And as soon as that is warmed back through, it's ready. And here are the finished plates. So we have the pasta, and then I made some side salads with some of my homemade ranch. This was really delicious. Tonight for dinner, I'm making Pollo Fundido. I saw this on Taylor Elmore's channel. I'll include a link in the description box below. To get started, I have 2 chicken breasts that I just sliced in half, and then I'm going to season both sides with some of this adobo seasoning. If you've never used this before, the first ingredient is salt, so just be mindful of that when you're seasoning your chicken, or really anything else for that matter. It is mostly salt. I'm going to get started on the rice. I got this recipe from a lady I used to go to church with. Her husband is Hispanic, and I've made this several times, and we really enjoyed this recipe. So to get started, I have this pot over about medium heat. I'm going to add in some oil and then add in the rice. She suggests using basmati, and it turns out really nice and fluffy. I'm going to add in the rice and then stir that around, and you just want to toast the rice for a few moments. Then I'm going to add in the tomato sauce, the water, the salt, the frozen peas and carrots, and stir that together. Now, her recipe says to bring this to a boil, and once it's at a boil, to cover it with a lid and to turn the stove completely off and allow the rice to cook. To be honest, I've never done it that way. What I do is I bring the rice to a boil, I cover it with a lid, I then turn it down to simmer, and I cook it for 18 minutes, and then fluff it with a fork, and it turns out really delicious. To go along with dinner, I'm making some restaurant-style refried beans. So in this pot here, over about medium-low heat, I'm going to add in a can of refried beans. And I also like to add in just a little bit of water, not a lot, just maybe a couple tablespoons. That just helps loosen the refried beans up. I'm then going to add in the sour cream and then the hot sauce to taste. And then I also like to add some salt to taste. I'm going to stir that together really well and then just allow that to cook again on about medium-low until it's warmed all the way through. And here's the finished rice, the finished refried beans, and then I made some homemade queso. You can just use store-bought if you'd like, but this is really easy. I've shared this before on my channel. It's Love Missy XO's recipe. I'll include it in the description box below. And then for the chicken, I just cooked it on my Cuisinart griddler until it reached 165 degrees internal temperature. And here are the finished plates. So we have some of the rice, the beans, the chicken. I drizzled some of that queso over everything. We had some pico de gallo left over from a previous dinner, so I just added that on top. And then off camera, I had some onions and mushrooms that I needed to use up, and so I just sauteed those in a skillet with just a little bit of oil, salt, and pepper. I thought that would be good with this, and it was. This dinner was absolutely delicious. I highly recommend you give this a try. And that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.